We're back once again, only on It's After Hours, only on Full Swap Radio. And joining me here on location, this beautiful, gorgeous creature once again is back on the show. And this time she has a lot to talk about. She's now going full on in. She was dipping her pinky toe for a bit, but now she's jumped on in and she's making a success. I give you the busty pinup goddess herself. I give you Victoria Vale. So, Victoria, how nervous were you when you decided to do this? Because you and I have talked about it. It's like, oh yeah, so I just want, not sure if I want to do this. I have family, and then
So true.
you're
I
now
remember
full
the
on
very first
in.
interview. Like I totally remember that, and I was like, no, no, I don't think I'd ever go hardcore. And then just everything progressed, and here I am. I don't know. But yeah, the first time I was very nervous, but I was lucky enough to work with like some great guys, and score is fantastic, so it didn't make it too daunting.
So let's talk about the team. Like, who's your agent? Who's your manager? Who are the people that are helping you with like the OnlyFans, your pro bookings, like getting you like content trades? Because for every successful woman, there's always the people behind her who are helping out behind the scenes. So for you, who are the people that you've surrounded yourself with who are helping you out?
Yeah, I mean, with Score, that was just me. I was just me contact, with in contact with Score. But I have used an agent named Brian who's out of Miami for all of my like more recent mainstream shoots for BangBros and so on. And I'm in the process of trying to get an agent in the LA Vegas area. So I think I'm going to use probably like 101 modeling, or somebody who is more specialized in Vegas and LA. But that's coming up.
So what were you nervous about? Because for those who don't know and who are not tuned in, like what were you were doing a great job at score. People love you. So what was, I guess, for you the biggest concern going into, switching from just, yeah, I'm gonna do score to all right, I'm hopping in with OnlyFans, I'm hopping in, gonna do everything now.
Yeah, I mean, it is like a little bit scary for me, just like just from the standpoint of the unknown. I didn't really know what to expect. Doing mainstream, how different would it be from Score? But it turned out to be actually not too different. Um, Maybe a little bit longer shoot day. But I did have a little bit of trepidation, as you know, about notoriety, and I have a pretty like normal daily life, so I didn't know how this would play into that. But so far, so good. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I've met so many fantastic people in this journey, I guess, guys and girls. So I don't know. It's been worth it.
The OnlyFans. That's your baby. That's your new baby here. So you create it, you do all the editing. How daunting is it sometimes though when it's like you're constantly, aiming to add content, whether it's solo stuff, whether it's girl, girl, boy, girl, you gotta upload. Hey, you want quality stuff? Like, how do you not get overwhelmed sometimes in terms of like satisfying the demands of the fans?
It is true. I think it's good and bad. I really love interacting with fans and talking to people, getting their feedback. I think it's been super helpful. Sometimes just fitting shooting that much content. I mean, everybody keeps saying to me, if there's one thing in the last 6 months I've heard more than anything, it's content is king. And just being able to generate that much content has is daunting, just because I do have like a pretty busy normal life. But I'm trying to create balance. Like you said, it is like my at the moment like my baby. I'm really trying to build it and put good content out there, stuff that I'm happy with, and so far so good. But yeah, I feel like every day is a sort of an uphill battle of where am I going to find the time to set aside to answer messages, do customs, create more content to put on OnlyFans. So and even beyond OnlyFans, just things like Instagram, which I'm also trying to build a bit, which is a lot because even Twitter, I feel like I can't always post as often as I'd like, so it is a little bit difficult in that way.
I'm very proud of you because I know for you. And you probably go, I say this to everybody. For you, I'm very proud of you because this was something that you've given a lot of thought to, and you're juggling, as you said, you're a mother, you're juggling, a significant other, you're juggling family, you're juggling all this stuff here, and yet you're doing this. I mean, how much pride do you take in that you're handling all these different roles, and yet you're still able to do them all well?
Thank you so much. I so appreciate that, Chris. I can't tell you how much, because you have known from the very start of this whole journey for me, like what it's been like. So yeah, I am really proud of it because I honestly wasn't sure I would be able to do it or build it any more than I had it the past, say, 5 or 6 years. And it's been, for me, it's difficult. It's totally a whole new learning process. And um again, a bit time consuming. I think, from an outsider perspective, sometimes it seems like, oh, this girl just does content creation, or I read articles about these girls who had these amazing stories about OnlyFans, and thinking, oh, they're just getting it and not doing anything to work for that. But I really realize how much work goes into that. Whether it's creating the content itself or editing, it's actually quite daunting.
Ava Devine, you've done a lot of content. I know that talking to you,
Adore her.
yeah, you. What is it about her that for you, you just A, you fell in love with it. B, she's become a very good friend of yours.
She's one of the most kindest, most wonderful people. So just wanting to help, and she didn't know me at all, and just so sweet, and incredibly helpful. Just one of the most wonderful people I've met. I mean, in or out of this industry, she's been a wonderful person, and you too, of course. But yeah, she's been fantastic, and I am so incredibly grateful to have met her. I really am.
How much does it help having somebody who also knows your brand in terms of like I can help, we can have other people help, but you are your own unique unicorn. You're this super busty, big boob model. Some people don't know how to shoot them. Some people don't know, like, okay, the makeup artist, the camera people, how do you do it? Because this is all stuff you and I have talked about off air. How much does it help
Yeah.
having her around then that she knows, okay, this worked for me. You and me have the same body type. I can help you make everything look good and put you in touch with the right people who know how to make you look good.
Absolutely. And actually, Igor Almeida was a photographer that she had suggested, and Justine from Moonlit Beauty Supply was a makeup artist she got me in touch with, and they are both just absolutely phenomenal for exactly that reason. Like, Igor knows how to shoot that, a certain body type, and Justine knows, the kind of look that you want to go for when you're taking pictures or doing video. So things like that, you're right, are just absolutely invaluable. I can't tell you how grateful I am, really, to have known not just Ava, but the people that Ava has, sort of suggested that I get in touch with. It's been super helpful.
So what do you look for then when you're collaborating? Because you're collaborating with a bunch of different people, and I know that you have a certain always thought process of, all right, this is how I want to do it. This is what I will look for. What do you look for then when you're collaborating with girls and guys? I mean, what are you looking for in terms of like the personality, the attitude, their thought process, creativity? Like, how much goes into just selecting people rather than because everybody hits you up and it's like, oh yeah, I want to do a content for your collab. It's like, why?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Of course, as far as females go, I feel like I generally try to gravitate towards people who have a similar look to mine, because we probably have the same fan base. As far as guys, a lot of times people will say, believe it or not, people will suggest to me that I shoot with somebody and sort of like get me in touch. There's a few people on Twitter and on OnlyFans who will suggest somebody that they're also a fan of. And then we sort of reach out to each other and, make that collaboration happen. Um, but, as far as like personality goes, just anybody who's very relaxed and easygoing. Again, I've been so fortunate that everybody that I've shot with has been just wonderful, and super easy to work with, like very good chemistry, which I think is, sometimes rare, but I've been fortunate enough to find people that were really easy to click with. especially sexually.
Sexually part is easy because it's like, okay, people are attracted to you, they look good, so but how tough is that in the beginning, making connections and trying to get their vibe when it's you're going through Twitter, you're going through Instagram, you're going through Snapchat.
Mm.
So you can meet in a meeting room and just have a coffee. It's now like virtual. How do you learn? Okay, this guy and I have a good vibe. We're gonna talk some more, and but he's earned your trust.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, it's hard because everything is virtual prior to meeting. But I feel like, just messaging is really helpful, or even a little bit of text beforehand, just to sort of set everything up or set the mood up. Um, I guess it's sort of like virtual teasing, right? You just sort of flirt a little bit in the DMs or um, a little light sexting, and I think that does set up the vibe a little, especially
Does
the
it help
guy.
for you? I was gonna say, does it help also that you're an older woman, so it's not like you're this 20-year-old, 18-year-olds going in there. You know what to expect. You have a career. You've done everything for life. So, is that easier with doing all this in terms of understanding? Okay, this is work, and I know to turn it on, turn it off, when to be serious, when to, how to see through people and read people because you've been through all that, in the past.
I think that's spot on. I do feel like, I'm again fortunate enough that I'm not a 20-year-old girl, and I don't think it would be as easy to navigate if I was in my 20s. You're right. I think as you age, you're better able to read people and, I mean, pick up on people's vibe too, even sexually. It's a little bit easier to connect in that way. And you're right. I do see the professional side of it. Interestingly, I think that is one thing that a big takeaway from the collaboration is that everybody who has, or at least that I've worked with, that has an OnlyFans fans platform really views it as a business and is very professional. I mean, I'm sure that there are exceptions out there where some people maybe are not as professional, maybe cancel. I've heard that that can be a problem, but I haven't experienced that yet. And I think working with other people who are also maybe not in their 20s and are have more of a professional mindset has been made it easier in that way.
Let's talk about you are a mother, you have children.
Mm.
How much thought went into this when you were doing this and having that conversation? Because you're becoming a big star. You will be a big star. So more people see who you are. People will figure out who you are. And I remember talking to people like Kiki Lou and Kelly, Hick Marie Kelly, and even to an extent, La Bella Diablo. They all said that's what I'm worried about. Breaking the news to our kids. Hey, we're gonna be on OnlyFans. This is what you may expect. This is how you prepare for it. Always have comments, and unfortunately, kids can be cruel, and social media can be just downright vicious.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, it is one thing I really do worry about. But I feel like, hopefully when that time comes, I can have like a mature conversation about it and sort of explain that it is a business, and at the end of the day, it's a profession or professional choice. So, I hope that that goes well. I don't feel I'm not a big enough star. I don't think for for people to be recognizing me, maybe. Um, but I haven't quite gotten to that level yet. But you're right. It is definitely something that weighs on my mind for sure.
Do you think you'll be a big star? I mean, because there's a lot of people who, when I talk to them, they are betting. But people like Porter Rocks, people like over in Vegas, who she's going to be a big star. You seem to have for you. How much of it is sort of like I don't see that yet. I don't view myself as this big person yet, or ever will be.
I don't know. I guess I'm just sort of like a down to earth person. I really enjoy it, and it's been something that's actually been very fulfilling in my life, and I feel like I just look at it as a positive thing. I mean, if I get some notoriety from it, I think that would be fantastic. But I'm like you said, I mean, I do feel like I'm proud of myself that I put myself out there and I've gotten even this as far as I have. So whatever comes, I'm ready for it and I'm excited for it. Um, I don't know. You never know what the future could hold, right, Chris?
Right. So what is on the bucket list for this year? Like what are some things, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, because as you've noticed, it's like, all right, this is expensive. This is not, people think you have hotel rooms, you have, you know, scheduled content trades. Hey, gotta get the makeup, gotta get for you. How much do you
It is.
start planning for down the line, like financially? Like, okay, I need to spend this amount, so I gotta save this amount.
Yeah, I think there's a like a quality. You have to spend money to make money, I guess. But you're right. It is. It gets expensive because there's a lot of travel involved. Like you said, makeup artists and sometimes, a photographer. If you're going to have someone film, the content trades. And even when I have done mainstream, it's a large chunk out of my life because, well, especially when I sort of did a long couple weeks of shooting when I did both the score shoots and like the BangBros and some of the other things that I've done. So it's again just not just a monetary, outlay of cost, but like also time wise. So I do have to plan, and maybe because more so because I do have other things going on in my life. I feel like it's more difficult to sort of get all those planets aligned. So I would say if you're asking how long, I would say I have to plan things at least a month out, sometimes two. So I mean, I right now I have like the next 3 months as far as shooting goes planned, and that's pretty much all I can commit to right now. But it's all sort of laid out as far as like travel and lining up people that I'm shooting with. So
I'm glad you brought the makeup artist because that's what everybody pays for, because especially ladies, because it's always the problem. It's like you'll get the wrong person or get somebody different, and they just,
sure.
oh my God, I look like a sad clown. Oh my God, I'm wearing five
That's
pounds
true.
of makeup on my face. What
I
are you
know.
doing? This does not feel like a clown lady.
Oh, it's true, and I have to say there are like some. I will not say which ones, but there's some cheese where I'm like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know how the makeup was, and especially like you said, I'm not 20 anymore, so it's like you can't. I feel like you can't put the same kind of makeup on somebody who's 20 as somebody who's in their 40s. So, um, yeah, it does actually play a major role. I have to say that Justine Moonlit Beauty Supply in Vegas is just amazing. She was fantastic. I wish everyone, and actually like quite a few in Miami were fantastic too. But um, the funny thing is, there were a couple of shoots where I did my own makeup, and in my own life, like I think the way I do my makeup is fine, but it is so different from doing my everyday makeup to doing like makeup for a shoot where there's different lighting and 4K cameras now, and I definitely could notice the difference. I was like, oh man, I don't ever want to do my makeup by myself again for a shoot, never,
It's
unless
like
it's in
when
my
you
house.
go on me, I'm going to do my own makeup because at least I know how I want to look, how I feel, and I don't
Yeah,
want to have this person like show up and all of a sudden you're going, oh crap, she's gonna give me the sad clown treatment.
yeah, it's so bad, or like it looks like maybe a little splotchy. I had one like especially because it gets so hot, in places like Miami. If you're shooting like in any time where it's warm or a season where it's warm, I mean, man, because you have to turn off the air conditioning, because you don't want to hear it in the video. So I mean, it can just melt off your face and get like you said, sad clown, like all splotchy. So yeah, there are times where I'm like, oh, I wish I could just like go and touch this up myself and make this look right. But it's not always an option, unfortunately.
So take me to your first non-score shoot. I
Okay.
count that as like your first real professional shoot because it's different people, different camera
Mm.
people. How much were you? Tell us what it was like and how much were you looking to go, okay, fine. Just like, I think I might need an edible. maybe a little bit of shot of whiskey, little bit of Jimmy Bean, something. I'm just
Pretty early in the morning, so no
open.
whiskey.
Yes.
Yeah, again, it is very professional. Again, it's a, a professional shoot. Score also, but definitely for some, the more mainstream companies, the day starts early and it goes all day. It is physically really exhausting. I can't tell you. Like, I mean, after a long day of shooting, like all I wanted to do, especially that week when I was shooting for the entire week, was take a nap, just rest. It's like beyond hunger, that kind of exhaustion. But I was so nervous, and I think just because you don't know what to expect, right? There's some comfort with Score because I know everybody there, and it's like seeing old friends when I go back and shoot with them. They're wonderful. But this was all new, so it was nerve wracking.
So like at Score, they know how to shoot you because, as I said, it's a big bust model production company. With Bang Bros, like, how much nervous was there? Like, all right,
Oh
how are
yeah.
they going to do this? How am I going to look?
I,
All the scripts here, and you're trying to go.
mhm.
Um, it's freaking hot. We're outside. It's melting. People are melting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was very nervous, especially for BangBros because it was a bit more notoriety, right, than I had experienced before. I mean, Score is, if you know, Boobs is, a big publication, but like BangBros is really just sort of worldwide, kind of mainstream. Um, and I was very nervous, very, very nervous for that shoot. And it's interesting about how you say how to shoot because I feel like Score obviously is very boob centric, right? Everything is centered on your chest, and I was used to posing for that. But for Bang Bros, it was a little bit different because it was all different angles. There were a lot of like different takes, for every position. Um, it was a much longer day actually. Um, but I do think that there was like they do have a bit of polish on their videos, which I did appreciate. I thought that just the way that they shot was always pretty, I guess, complimentary at whatever position it was. But you're right, it wasn't always on my boobs, which was interesting to me because I wasn't used to that. I
Going
feel like it was
forward,
like every position.
for you, you said for women, it's like, all right, people who look like me and are built like me. Have you thought about some women who aren't? Because there's a lot of women who want to work with you, and sometimes there'll be people who don't have that big bust. Have you thought about that? Like, all right, hey, I just
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Skylar
Okay.
Madison wants to work with me, or Isabel Nice wants to work with me. Yes,
Oh,
I can make
absolutely.
this work.
And I think that there's a lot to be said for variety and having sort of like maybe even opposite looks or different kind of looks, whether it's a difference in age or a difference in boob size or whatever the case may be, or one has big boobs, one has like a bigger like butt or something like that. I think that that's sexy. Variety is the spice of life, right? So absolutely, I would definitely entertain collaborating with any type of girl or guy. Absolutely.
You mentioned before, but with Bang Bros, it's the 8 hour shoots, 10 hour shoots. How much fun do you have with the OnlyFans? Because it's only like 3 hours. You're in, you're out. You get to control everything, and it's also you get to. It's almost like a play date. You get to work, but you get to really talk to these people. You get to collaborate with people you like, and you get to
Totally.
build sort of a friendship.
So much more laid back, so much more fun. Yeah, it is. It's like, that sort of homegrown video where you're just like shooting a your own little sex movie um in the bedroom, and I loved it. I much prefer, I think, I shouldn't say. I mean, obviously like shooting mainstream is exciting in its own way, but as far as sexually enjoyable, I definitely think that my OnlyFans stuff has been more, physically enjoyable. Because you sort of you're the producer, right? You get to shoot it, any way you want, and you could be much more natural and have things flow more naturally. I don't know, more organic. I love it. I have much more fun with it. And I have to say, even like the customs, even which are a little bit more scripted, I've been having a lot of fun with that. People have some very creative ideas of things that they want.
So what do you do for customs? Like, give me like one of the most creative customs you've done so far.
Oh boy. Well, I did have one guy who wanted me to be ravaged by an invisible man recently, which was very exciting. Um, he would like me to find a dwarf man to shoot with, so I'm sending it out there right now. If anyone knows of a very sexy dwarf man, I would like to shoot with him and collaborate with him.
I was gonna say,
Of
how
course,
the hell do you pull off the Invisible Man? Because that's almost like,
I had to be very creative, let
like
me
what?
tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a lot of acting in that. You sort of have to, pretend like somebody's in the room with you, and it was definitely one of my more creative feats, but it was very fun. Very fun,
How
actually.
much pride do you take? Yeah, I was gonna say, how much pride do you take in that? Because that's a challenge. That's something that not many people can do. Because it's like almost like when you're wrestling against yourself, or you see the actors, debating with themselves, and they do one cut scene, but they do the other cut scene. It feels like for you, how much was that like? All right, hey, I did this. I pulled this off. I made it look good, and that's not an easy thing to do.
It was. I was very proud of it. I was extremely proud of the final result. Maybe I'll have to post it at OnlyFans if somebody wants to see it. But yeah, and it was a fairly long video too, and it was scripted. So, yeah, but I think that's, to me, I sort of feel like that kind of thing is my specialty a little bit. Like I really do. I love fetishes and I love creative ideas, and bringing that, I guess, to life in a custom. I love a good challenge always. I especially love fetishes. I feel like people can get very creative with that too, whether it's cuckold or femdom type stuff. I find that fun too. I've been getting a lot of mommy requests lately too since that last BangBro video, which is fun. It's just, to me, it's all fantasy. So you're just acting out a fantasy, which is exciting. And I think the idea of somebody enjoying it or enjoying, the work that I put in is a real turn on, even when I'm making it. I think in my head, like, how is somebody reacting to this, masturbating to it, or how is it getting them excited? That's a real turn on.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we're very happy to have once again on the show. I give you, it is the always beautiful, always hardworking, and very classy. I give you Victoria Vale. Victoria, before we let you go, where can fans hit you up at? Where's the OnlyFans? Where's the Fansly? The many vids, Instagram, Twitter. Where can fans hit you up at?
Yeah, so I have obviously my Twitter, which is at Victoria Vale 00. Then my OnlyFans is at Victoria Vale. And my new Instagram, please, my sad Instagram needs help, is at Victoria Vale XO. And ManyVids at Victoria Vale. I believe it's at Victoria Vale, but I think I'm the only Victoria Vale on there, so I should be easy to find.
Victoria Vale, ladies and gentlemen, once again, always an honor, pleasure. I have you on the show. We come back, a lot more going on here. Only on It's After Hours, only on Full Swap Radio.